Just to move on from Motherwell as such, but certainly staying with Celtic and league duty. So obviously Rangers failing to capitalise on Sunday mean that we maintain the 8-point gap at the top of the table. James, are you concerned though that, as Paddy has mentioned, that we might slip up in the coming weeks and create a genuine title race when it looked like we were already going to start stretching away?
I think off the ball we could drop points to take Paddy's point. They are a very bad football team. Watched them yesterday. I thought Aberdeen were honking, by the way. Watched them yesterday. No cutting edge, no penetration. That's more likely a saving grace. But mathematically, you're not in a comfy position. 8 points is, call it 5 game in hand if you're going to be generous. You've got plenty of games against them coming up. So I put it this way, if I was in their shoes, I'd be thinking that's well catchable, until it's mathematically impossible, all that stuff. So we need to dig in and we need to stretch that lead. Obviously the biggest chance we've got to do that is the 30th of December. That can make it really interesting and then pull away from there. But yeah, you're not in clear blue water by any stretch.
Yeah. But for you, anxious about it following our result of the weekend?
I wouldn't say anxious. I think that you're getting from Rangers what you've had from them before. That this squad has proven that they'll go on a wee run for a new manager and then make their mind up about him and probably make his life harder. Although I think they've made a good appointment. I think in this manager he's probably somebody who will weed out players like that rather than humour them.
But he won't humour the fans as well.
There is that, but I think whilst they may not be the best team in the world by any stretch, I think they're better under Clement than they were under Beale. That's just my opinion. So that presents a challenge if we are going to have the standard of performance that we endured on Saturday. The result isn't horrendous and Aberdeen have done us a turn or Rangers have failed to capitalise, whatever way you want to look at it, but we could have done ourselves a turn on Saturday and we didn't. So
stretched it, yeah.
That's the thing for me, it was just poor.
Yeah, Paddy, we've mentioned the AGM there, and is it good enough? And I know the answer, but is it good enough to have a strategy that is just rely on them being rotten?
Yeah, you know the answer. Of course, it's not. I think that we've watched this kind of unfold for the last 10 years, 11 years since their demise, and I think that we had reason to kind of sit and let that be the case for maybe 2 or 3 years, 4 or 5 until obviously the semi-final under Dyla, and that point it was more just like kick on, like flex the muscle a little bit and get ahead of them again. We've done that season upon season upon season until we get bloated. Our squad got bloated, we lost a good manager and we didn't have any direction, and we get caught because they threw everything, including the kitchen sink, to get that league title, in a crazy season might add. But for me, I'm of the opinion, like domestically I still feel that this team, our squad, is better than theirs. I'm not of the worry that they're going to come and put in a title challenge against us. I don't see it. I don't think they're a good enough team. I actually listened to what Johnny Hayes had to say about this whole narrative that they try harder. They said, no, Celtic are better. Celtic are better than you guys. That's the difference. That they see a match, and they do see a match against Rangers. I think if Aberdeen weren't in group stage football, they would be probably level head with Rangers this season. I really do think that would be the case. I think we need this window. I think we need it quickly. I think our starting 11 beats any team that Rangers put out against us, but we can't guarantee having that starting 11.
Yeah, because there's no doubt our squad, you can debate the merits of Celtic's 32-man squad, by the way, but the squad as it is, and on their day, as Paddy rightly says, our 11 is pretty strong, but we don't have our 11 right now. Hatate is part of our 11. Louis Palma suspended for Lazio, he's part of our big 11. Dyson Maeda. There's guys that we can't call upon for different reasons just now. Liam Scales is a bit of an outlier, the fact that he's currently our centre half. So there's a few different things at play, but ultimately, when for whatever reason we don't have our best 11 on the park, we are vulnerable, and you'd say we are there for the taking.
Yes, and listen, isn't any team, most teams would probably be the same. You're starting 11's your
Spurs, how bad they're struggling.
You're starting 11's your starting 11 for a reason, because you're 11 best players. So, I understand that and I get that. I take that into account. I just think for me that result has been coming. There's just a bit of a malaise. I feel around. I just feel like we have got to a certain point as a club and just failed to kick on. The Rodgers appointment for me just gets more bizarre by the passing month when you think, why is he come back for this?
Yep.
I don't care what he says at the AGM because that will just be party line. What must he be thinking privately? I would love to know.
Do you think he's thinking the same? Because I do. I really
It must
do.
be. It must be sitting like that.
What's going on?
But has someone straight lied to him in terms of what they were going to, how they were going to perform?
You
in the
can
summer?
always turn around at the end of a window and say, we tried to get that guy, we tried our best. They were playing hardball with the figures
Show me
and
your
stuff.
workings.
Yeah, there might be some of that.
Aye.
What you are getting from Brendan Rodgers, he's very much toeing the company line. He has to. What's the alternative? Call your chief exec or something.
He's very well paid to do so.
Yeah, exactly that. It kind of ties into an extent, or maybe it does, maybe it doesn't actually, with another bigger picture. Miff mentioned the malaise, and we've got this ongoing situation with the Green Brigade that they're certainly not at Celtic Park at this moment in time, or at least inside Celtic Park. They were very much outside on Saturday and letting their voices be heard. Is it making a difference? Are the Green Brigade going to roar you on to victory against Motherwell at the end of November? Is that going to have an impact? Is it having a bearing on what the players feel and what they bring at the party? And does it tie into the malaise? If things aren't right between fans and Celtic, whether it's a fans group like the Green Brigade or otherwise, it's just not a great vibe. And divided, you're always far worse off than united.
I mean, it's a elongated discussion, I suppose, or it's an in-depth discussion. You really get into to cover it all. I think the positives are, obviously, they can add to the atmosphere. I think the negatives are that makes it fans just sit and wait for that to start, and they don't take the initiative to do that, as has happened since I started going to Celtic games a long time ago. And you can say chicken egg, which came first? Was it the poor atmosphere that necessitated the Jungle Boys, or it wasn't then the Green Brigade and the Bhoys and all these kind of things? So that is part of the positive. But until fans groups are going to police better and behave better, we've all been to away games, we've all been to Europe away. It's not on, and to go on to some podcasts and just act like a Wayne and just not really address the issues. For me, I think it's mystery option C. It's not in or out. I think it is. Yeah, we want a fans group in the ground. I just don't think it can be them.
Well, that's an interesting point. I mean, we were chatting earlier on in our group, and I just think I don't see a resolve anytime soon, Miff. It seems that the Green Brigade are adamant they've not done anything wrong. The club are adamant they have. And unless somebody bends on that, then the status quo will remain and they'll remain outside the ground. Yeah,
I think there's, like there always is in these situations, there'll be two extreme viewpoints and the truth will invariably somewhere in the middle. I don't think the Green Brigade are completely innocent of all charges levelled against them, but at the same time it feels like there's been a bit of opportunism around levelling charges at them, but potentially controlling a certain situation which might explode into something more. So I think the team do suffer as a result from it, and the quicker that things are resolved, the better for everyone. We mention it regularly when we speak about the 2 years of Ange that we had. The club, for the first time in a long time, felt completely united, including the fans, even though there would be the odd flare-up about behaviour and things like that, and the odd charge for a banner or whatever it might be. But on the whole, the club from top to bottom was in unison. It isn't anymore.
No, it definitely isn't. Brendan Rodgers was asked, I don't know if it was just today as he was travelling out, but he was asked specifically about the atmosphere and if he felt it was a bit flat. And he conceded, Paddy, that it was, but again, I don't know if he's toned the party line, but he said it's up to the players to generate something on the park that the fans can respond to. That there's not a lot of excitement happening on the park just now, and maybe there's something to that.
Well, the fans waited until probably about 15 minutes to go to really start roaring the team on. I think there was that assumption that we would score and we would get our goal, but as Motherwell continued to waste time, as a few decisions didn't go for us, as you could see, the players were really trying. And I thought the subs, to be fair, you talk about Johnson, people were on Johnson's back as soon as he came on. He was actually trying to beat somebody. You need to give him credit for that. Yep. And they were trying to make things happen. They were putting some balls in the box, and the fans started to get just a bit of a roar. A few songs broke out, but it took until 15 minutes when it was really getting quite desperate, was when the volume went up. And listen, include myself in that. A couple of times, individual people maybe broke into song. I did so myself as well, but there's some silence running about, and it's like me when I'm in the woodcutter on a Sunday night. Start singing, and folk just turn around and look at you.
It's entertaining.
So, I think if people want there to be an atmosphere, everybody's got a bit of responsibility to back that up. You can't just rely on a fan group to tell you what to sing. You go to the football surely to have a wee sing song and support the team.
Did you start Robbie Williams' Angels in the stand that didn't take off?
No,
Red lights, Bell Danger.
No. Well, that's a different story. Anyway, moving on.
What you do have though is the Green Brigade have been part of Celtic's fan base for around about 16 years, something like that, and they have set the wheels in motion for all the tunes during those times. So what you've got now is a fan base who aren't used to starting the chants. That's
You've got a generation of fans that aren't used to it. And
that's
to be fair, most of it comes from Young Toy. It's when we were young,
Young Toy.
Young Toy.
Yeah.
Dad,
Do you
down
honestly
with
think that
that kids.
Do you think that lasts long though? Like, what I meaning by that is that there is a view on it just now that we're expecting the atmosphere to increase and improve if the Green Brigade are there. If there was a solution to the matter, and whether that solution be that they come back into the stands, which we want a full stadium. Doesn't matter who's there. We're all Celtic supporters at the end of the day. Or if they were told, no, that's it, it's done, and season tickets are cancelled, but these seats are filled in again, that someone picks it up. I don't think it's we need to wait on this group to come back in. I think I get what you guys are saying. It's different, but I just think it's because there's not an answer to the situation that's ongoing. And the only way you get an answer is if they sit down the table and want to talk about that. And from what I've read and from what I've heard, is that Celtic have reluctantly wanted to do that and eventually have done it. But again, drag their heels over anything, including signing players.
Well, that's a different matter, but you're right. I think the chat is that Celtic reluctantly, as Paddy said, agreed to get round the table just in time to stop the Green Brigade's day of action. I don't know what the day of action was going to look like.
Annoyed Rod Stewart.
I don't know if there was any plan, if there was something more aggressive or controversial planned. I really don't know, so it wouldn't be fair to speculate too much. But what's ended up happening is the Green Brigade have had their welcome the team up the Celtic way, very positive, very noisy, very, very colourful type thing. And they've agreed to do so because they've had the meeting has been agreed in the background. I don't know what's going on at the meeting. I don't know what they've proposed at the meeting. Have the Green Brigade had to come and put their paws up and say, yeah, do you know what, we did get some things wrong and we could have policed better, and there were some incidents with breaking down fire doors and stairs. I really don't know, and I don't suppose any of us will ever find out. That's up to them to resolve behind closed doors. But as I said at the top there, something needs to give, and I think you've got two very stubborn groups there.
The stewarding around that area is pretty hefty. It is pretty hefty, so I've seen that, the amount of checks, and sometimes you can't pass through the section that I'm in to go through to where the
home games,
where the north curve entrance is. So I would, it's human nature, if you feel like you're being sort of picked upon, you rally back against it, don't you? Especially the psyche of the Celtic fan. So I think there's probably that this isn't a new thing. It's something that's been ongoing for a long time between the club and the group themselves. But why do the group exist? To support Celtic, so surely I would imagine, regardless of how annoyed they may be, surely that's what they want to get back to. I would assume. And as far as the Celtic board are concerned, no one can say we're better off without them. So we, resolve it quickly and put Celtic back to be the most important thing.
It's not even just the heavy presence of stewards or policing around that whole area. You've got a CCTV unit across from that stand as well. And there's one guy that's orchestrating the use of that, because apparently there's a lot of stories that there's the dawn raids that were kind of happening maybe about 5 or 6 years ago.
Did you get rumbled, Paddy?
Say again?
Did you get rumbled?
I was fine. I move about,
I know, man.
I mean, that's
safe houses.
But just stuff like that. Let the people go to the football and support Celtic.
Guys were getting stopped at the airport, come back for holidays with their families, and getting lifted there and then. That was a whole disgrace, the whole thing. And I'll never not be fully in support of that getting binned,
Exactly. Listen, it's definitely both sides need to get the finger out and sort it out 100%. But some of the actions from our club, employees of our club, are deplorable as well.
So what you've got though is a situation that's, I think a lot of folk have become quite fatigued with it. It's been rumbling on in the background with no sign of a a solution one way or another. So hopefully something can be found.
Tino's word of the week: fatigue.
Fatigued, it's decent.
Fatigue.
Let's get back to some of the stuff on the pitch.